Our first speaker just finished his last class at Riverside Community College last night and graduated with a 4.0 GPA. In 2 weeks, he will be competing against other state gold medal winners in Louisville, Kentucky in the college division of the photography contest for Skills USA. Don is enjoying Toastmasters, but wondering how long it takes. You know you're not nervous. This is his third speech from the Competent Communicator Manual. He'll be speaking 6 to 8 minutes, and the assignment is the one that says, get to the point. The title of Don's speech is, Are You Cool or Are You Hot? Welton.
I had just walked up on the platform, sat down in my chair. It's a Sunday morning worship service, getting ready to preach in a few minutes. I glanced up and there was one of my senior ladies looking at me going, Coleman. You know, and I gave her that, I'll take care of your look. The thermostat was just right over on the wall close to where I was sitting, so, you know, I did that occasionally. I'm getting ready to go change it when I caught another lady. And she's looking at me going, oh, what do I do? So I got up, I walked over, and I acted like I was changing the thermostat. And as I came back, I gave them both a look like everything's okay now. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guests. Are you cool or are you hot? I pastored in Florida. I thought of Florida as the retirement center of the world. The seniors from Michigan, from New York, from Indiana, they all head to Florida once they hit retirement age. Well, I came to think of it as a different, instead of calling it retirement capital of the world, I always tended to think of it as God's waiting room. So they would come down and, well, I guess I won't further on down. I did a lot more funerals than I did weddings. But we had this lady in my church, and she invited me over to see her retirement community. So I walked over, went over with her, and we're walking around the community, and she's introducing me to this lady, and to that lady, and to this lady, and to that lady. Oh, this is my past Pastor Don, and I'm meeting all these women. And I finally turned to her and Lois, are there any men here? And she goes, we like men, but we just keep outliving them. And that's when I really geared into that, well, this is God's waiting room. So I got a lot of seniors. So there's this senior community right by my church, and a lot of senior activities, and everything was kind of scheduled around them. And then we have the nursery for the real small, then we have the children's church for the young children. The teens, we had a good teen group, but I felt like during the services they were kind of a little left out, so I made a deal with them. So here's the deal. Once a month. They said, well, when? I said, well, you don't know when, but once a month. You got to be there every Sunday. Once a month during the Sunday morning service, I'll do something a little bit different. Try to make it a little more entertaining, but still getting the message across, and just something to shake it up a little bit. I can only go so far. I'm the pastor, and it's a Sunday morning service, but once a month I'll try to shake it up a little. So I'm doing this series on peak. I called it Reaching for the Peak, where I used the word peak as an acrostic, P-E-A-K, prayer, evangelism, abiding in the Word, and the K was koinonia. Koinonia is a Greek term. The New Testament was originally written in ancient Greek. Koinonia means like communion, like the fellowship, the gathering together, worshiping together. And I had to have something that came up with K, for the peak. But anyway, so I preached on prayer, I preached on evangelism, I preached on abiding in the Word. Now it's time for koinonia, and I'm thinking, how can I illustrate that? And I'm due to do something special for the youth, and I got an idea. Now notice I said I got an idea. I didn't say I got a good idea. But I got an idea. Sometimes ideas are dangerous. But anyway, I walked up, and it's that Sunday morning, I walked up on the platform again, and it got to be that time when it was time to, to approach the pulpit and give them the words of the day. And I walked up, and then I walked around it and went down by the altar, and I had this barbecue. They used to have these round barbecues, and I dumped the charcoal in, grab the lighter fluid, douse it really good. Pastors are like that. We just feel like you got an extra blessing. So I put all this lighter fluid on it, toss the match, poof, And I'm looking at them, and I have a lot of seniors now. And I know they were thinking, oh, is he got a burnt offering? What's he doing now? You know? And so I got this fire going, and I did have a fire extinguisher. We didn't burn anything down, you know, but I've got this fire going, and I walked right back up. The whole time, you know, I had a little mic on, so I'm preaching the whole time, you know, not really explaining what I'm doing, just kind of doing it. I go back up, you know, at the pulpit, I'm preaching. A few minutes later, I go down, and this time I had tongs, and I grabbed one of the coals, one of the charcoals, and I put it by the side. And I walked back up, and I continued preaching on and on and on. And a few minutes later, it did just what I wanted it to do. I was so proud of myself. I'm thinking, this is good. You know, and I walked down there, and the one that I had set by itself had cooled down. The others were still red hot, little flames coming out. All it was missing was the marshmallows. But they were flaming still, but the one was cool. It was so cool at this point, you know, that after I gave it a few minutes, that I could pick it up with my hand. And I showed them, I said, you know, when we get away from the group, we cool down. When we stay together in the group, we stay on fire. And that was, you know, the message that I wanted them to get a hold of that day and to capture that day. And I felt like I reached them on it. The problem then became, all at once I realized people started coughing. I looked up. Now, this is one of those things where we had a real high ceiling. We had a cloud in there. A storm was coming in. And this one lady, she got the little, you know, the oxygen cart, you know. And I was like, ushers, we better open the doors. We got the doors open, the windows open, the fans going, and it got better, you know. But I learned to, you know, that, you know, sometimes every idea, even if it can get a point across, maybe not be a good idea. And then someone later came up to me and said, Pastor, did you ever read the bag of the charcoal? It says on there, you know, these are toxic. You know, that you know, under no conditions are they supposed to be inside. You know, God takes care of the weak-minded, you know. But so I never used that illustration again. Never used it again. Well, in this case, just talking about it works. One of the things I thought about, and I compared it to our group here. And I think, you know, we start out hot. You know, we want to come. We want to learn. I want to be a speaker. I want to be a better speaker. And I do. I want to become better. I want to become less nervous. I want to learn what to do with my hands. They just go everywhere. And then if we're not careful, if we're not here regularly, you know, sometimes, can I just confess? I just don't always want to come Thursday morning. By Thursday afternoon, I am thrilled that I came. You know, but Thursday morning, I don't always want to come. It takes a commitment. It takes getting up and getting out. And I always want to speak, and then when I get here, I really don't want to speak. You know, but then afterwards, oh, I'm glad I spoke. You know, but if I don't stay involved, and if you don't stay involved, you're just like that charcoal that's placed on the side. You're going to cool down. You're going to forget why you came in the first place. So it's important. Keep coming. Keep getting involved. So I'm going to close with this. Are you cool, or are you hot?